Here we are. Howdy, 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 guys. Welcome to a Monday. Hope y'all are doing fantastic. Before I forget, let me just start off with the big old SKD 143. I love my wife. I love my kids. I love all the reality fans out there. Love all y'all that are choosing to spend a Monday night with me, with each other. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate it so much. I hope y'all are doing great. It's Labor Day. We get a 3-day weekend. For those of you who are in school, you probably didn't have to go to school today. For those of you who work, some people had to work. It's not, Labor Day means putting in labor for some people. But for a lot of us, we had days off, and that's certainly nice as well. I hope y'all had fun over the entire weekend. We may talk about what happened over the weekend a little bit, but I hope y'all are doing fantastic. Let's see who we got. Ma's out here. Howdy, Ma, and Dawn Bud. Dawn probably not feeling too great tonight. She's a big Claire fan, and Claire's not looking like she may be in a great position. We'll talk about that. Judith Tucker, Parker, Gel Crossing, howdy, Gel. Lawrence Santiago, hey, Lawrence. Vernon Mercado, Tim C, man, Joshy P. All my old friends out here and a few new ones as well. Hope y'all are all doing fantastic. Let's see who else. Raccoon as well. Welcome, Raccoon. Vernon, I think I said that. All right, I'm just trying to get caught up, guys. I come on to this show at 7 o'clock, and y'all look like y'all been out here for hours and hours based on some of the conversations and such. Cindy Heyer. Howdy, Cindy. Welcome aboard as well. Good to see you back again. And Katie R as well. Good evening to you, Katie. I hope you're doing fantastic. All right, what do I think of the new Tiffany and Kylan showman's business? We'll talk about some Big Brother as we go through this. Mark Taylor as well. May, Jenny. Oh, man, I got and Angie out here as well. I know Angie's staying busy with her own acting, which that's so cool. But Angie, thank you I'm glad to see you out here. Joyce, Kathy, gosh, guys, Mama Mia, Bell. All right, I know others are going to come on board, but we'll stop it right there. For those of you who aren't watching live, who are watching on repeat, thank you. I appreciate it as well. For all of y'all, if y'all haven't already subscribed, please subscribe. Y'all know me. I'm not out here trying to make a fortune doing this or anything else. I'm not shilling a lot of stuff on Instagram and none of that. But it is kind of nice to see folks out there that have subscribed. And it makes it so much easier when I do these shows, especially as we get into new reality TV. Yeah, Big Brother's getting ready to shut down. We've got what? Today was night 61. We've got 24 days or so, like 3.5 weeks. After that, I need some input from y'all. I may start doing some other shows, some recaps. I don't know, Survivor, or I'm ready for Amazing Race to come back. There may be some other shows that I could do as well. So I want some of y'all's input about maybe shows that y'all think I could do that would be fun to talk about. I don't know, if not every morning like I do, but after the episodes, things like that would be kind of cool. So there you go. All right, now the Circle starts on the 8th. All right, I got a little confession to make, Cindy. I watched season 1 of The Circle. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I have not finished season 2 of The Circle, and not because I didn't like it. It's just there's only so many hours in the day, and between work and Big Brother and all, I just never quite got to it. So maybe I need to finish season 2 pretty quick. There's always so many shows I've got to watch. I wish we had 28 hours in a day so I could put an extra 4 hours just to the all the TV shows that I miss out on. There's always something new going on. But yeah, all right. Well, I'll keep that in mind. And yeah, Dawn, I think Survivor recaps will be kind of fun. I think. Belle saying, Cliff, you do great at being on The Circle. You should apply. I don't know. Do you think so, Belle? I feel like it's hard. And that show, so much of it is about people communicating just by text messaging and things like that. I'm not I got a few years on some of you guys out there. I'm not as expert at text messaging and the emojis and all that stuff. I don't know if I do as well. I feel like I do much better with the face-to-face conversations where I can smile and look someone in their eyes and do things like that. If all I'm doing is talking through a computer the whole time, I don't know, Belle, if I do that well. But hey, I'd give it a shot. Never say never, right? That'd be kind of interesting. All right, so let's see. Let's talk a little bit about some stuff that's going on. First of all, let me catch up on this. A couple of things. All right, May, howdy to you and gig 'em. My Aggies played their first football game of the season this past weekend against Kent State. They won, and I was happy. I loved watching. I spent a lot of time this weekend watching college football on Saturday, so had a blast doing that. And Angie saying my last Cliff Notes. All right, Angie, you and I are going to have a little discussion about that. well, let's talk. Let's see what we can do on that. But I know how busy you are with all your stuff, so we'll have a discussion. And Kathy, sad about Claire sad about Claire potentially going. Once Alyssa and Xavier out, and then Big D and Ozza. Yeah, you know what? Here's the thing, guys. I'm trying to avoid spoilers on tonight's show, which is so hard to do. Oh my gosh. Well, let's just talk about some Big Brother, because what an exciting evening so far. Oh my God. Oh my gosh. Tiffany thought it was so easy. Just put up Alyssa. Once Sarah Beth was out the door, Alyssa was her new big target. Big D is as soon as they get to the final six, or the cookout only. But for right now, is all about getting Alyssa out. Put her on the block. You protect Claire. Alyssa goes home. You've now got more women in the house than you do men, which helps Tiffany out. You've got your side person, Claire, still with you. Everything seemed to be going Tiffany's way by winning that HOH, even though there were people mad at her, right? I mean, we saw on the episode last night and discussions over the past few days ever since HOH. There are people that are upset at Tiffany for winning that HOH. There's people that are upset at Kylan for potentially winning that HOH. Apparently, they were all supposed to throw it to Ozza. And the thing is, I don't think Tiffany trusted Kylan enough. I don't think Kylan trusted Tiffany enough for either one of them to fall while the other one was still up. And then suddenly Ozza falls off or got disqualified. Yeah, well, let's talk about that. And so then suddenly it's the two of them. And so Tiffany thought it was so easy until Alyssa wins the veto. And again, I know the veto ceremony was held today, but I'm going to try to avoid talking about that because it would be considered a spoiler. Now, I know over here on the comments, there's already comments being made about it. So if you don't care about spoilers, feel free to read it. If you want to be surprised, then stay off those comments for a little bit. But now, Alyssa winning veto really threw a kink in some plans, and I don't mind it. Because I want to see the chaos in the house, not because I dislike Tiffany or Claire or anything like that, or that I'm super charged up cheering on Alyssa. It's none of that. I just want to see people surprised and nervous and worried and making hard decisions in the house. And so we've got some of that. So we do have that. All right, there was something I was going to mention and talk about. I don't remember. All right, let's talk about Kylan and Tiffany. Apparently, and I haven't seen the feeds yet. I was off away from the house for a lot over the weekend, so I haven't seen the feeds, but I've certainly heard some descriptions that maybe Tiffany and Kylan got a little touchy-feely, had a little bit of a connection with each other. Wow. I can't say that I was expecting to see that happen. But here's the thing. Remember, Kylan and Tiffany, they were both originally on Team Queens, weren't they? I'm pretty sure they were. And so, yeah, I started thinking about that. Maybe there's more loyalty between those two than I have kind of given credit for here over the last few weeks. I really felt like, even at HOH, Tiffany did not want Kylan to win. Kylan didn't want Tiffany to win. So they were kind of going at it with each other. But there's obviously still some alliances, some allegiances as well. And I don't know. What an interesting turn of events, right? I've said for a long time, I think it's going to be guys versus women on the Cookout Alliance. Maybe not so much. Maybe they've got Kylan coming over to the women's side a little bit. Ozza certainly could. I could see her potentially going over to the men's side a little bit. Remember, she's got a crush on Xavier, so maybe it's not so cut and dried as I've tried to make out. But no, I thought that was very interesting to watch. I'm sure y'all were excited about it as well, right? All right, yeah, sure enough. I'm seeing a few comments in the feeds, and I'm just going to leave that alone. But if you don't care about being surprised, then you can certainly go out there and read it. All right, let's see. Who do you guys think played the best game outside of the Cookout? Spicy Salami's asking that. Spicy, I don't know. Derek X, considering that he was a target the very first week, he was able to go in and play a pretty decent game. He certainly captured the heart of a lot of the viewers, right? I mean, he's got to be one of the fan favorites right now. Is he going to win America's favorite player? I don't know, but I would be very, very surprised if he didn't finish at least in the top three. of America's favorite. So I think Derek X played a pretty good game while he was in the house. He didn't make it. He got burned a little bit. He got fooled. Hannah talked him into not playing the roulette game on high rollers, which was his big mistake. But you know what? You're working off of limited information in there. From Derek X's standpoint, I get it. I absolutely get it, what was leading him on or what was causing that. All right, let's see. It's me, Raccoon's also saying, will Tiffany go home if Alyssa wins the double HOH? I don't know. Your guess is as good as I went. It's certainly a possibility. Tiffany, because Alyssa won the veto, Tiffany's game kind of gets thrown around a little bit. I think Tiffany is in potential danger for a lot of reasons. One, Alyssa won the veto, so she's not going home. And I think Alyssa feels that Tiffany, in fact, she has said that she feels like Tiffany was trying to break her and Xavier up. So, yeah, I think Tiffany could easily be a target for Alyssa if Alyssa was to win HOH. And I think there's other people in the house that would love to see Tiffany head out the door as well. Some because they just view Tiffany as a threat. Tiffany has played a pretty good game. She's had a few missteps. There's some things I would have done a little bit differently, but for the most part, Tiffany has been involved in a whole lot of the decisions in this house, right? And when she gets to a final two seat, if she gets there, she's got a lot of things that she can talk about that she did. So I think people would be a little nervous about getting next to Tiffany on a final two in a final two jury vote. I think so. Yeah, I think Tiffany could be in trouble, but it all depends on who wins the second HOH of the double eviction. What do y'all think about the fact? I'm talking a little too fast. I'll slow it down. What do y'all think about the fact that we've got two double evictions in a row? They're all expecting this first double eviction. No one is going to be surprised at all. But to have another double the very next week, I think that's going to catch some people off guard, and that's what I want to see. All right, Marina Carroll. Xavier needs to get a grip and stop obsessing over Alyssa. Yeah, he seems to be really focused on keeping her in this house, right? And protecting her at all costs, which I kind of get it. I mean, he feels like she would protect him, and so she's an extra number that he has that no one else has. So I get it from that standpoint. But when you talk about it as much as you do, when you make it so obvious in front of the rest of the house, I think that puts you a little bit in the target spotlight. I think it makes Alyssa and Xavier both a little bit more likely to be targeted because people start getting worried that they're so tight with each other. Remember Kylan and Sarah Beth? There were a lot of people saying Kylan's too tight with Sarah Beth. We've got to get rid of her just to bring him back into the fold. Well, I'm sure a lot of people are saying the exact same thing with Xavier right now and Alyssa. So yeah, he probably needs to lay back a little bit and in private tell Alyssa, say, anything I can do to save you, I'm going to save you and all of that. But play it on the down low in terms of the house itself, right? I mean, I think that's the way to go. Zane Austin saying that was Kylan making sure he doesn't go up on the block. I assume we're talking some of the closer interactions between him and Tiffany. Maybe it would not be the first house guest who's ever been in that house that didn't use a little romance to help further their game a little bit. That's part of welcome to the real world. You know, Big Brother's supposed to be a slice of real world life. Well, we see all kinds of different behaviors in the house. And you may be right, Zane. You may absolutely be right. And maybe not. I'm not going to make too many assumptions because that probably wouldn't be fair. But I certainly get where you're coming from when you say that. All right, let's see what else. We've got Ma saying anyone else. Hold on, I lost the comment. I can't read or can't find it. Oh, Ma, sorry. So I just realized what you're talking about. Anyone else here that the BB lot is up for sale? Yeah, I don't know if y'all heard that. I guess that came out about a week and a half ago. For those of you who don't know, the Big Brother house is actually on a soundstage. I think it's stage number 18, if I remember. But it's on the soundstage as part of the big CBS lot there in Burbank, California. And it looks like a house on the inside, but on the outside, it's just a big old square, round, seal roof kind of building. But they apparently are selling that entire lot off to someone else because prices are so high right now for studio time and all of that, and they think they can make a lot of money. Yeah, if they sell it out, I don't know if they would just then turn around and rent the Big Brother house, or maybe they'd move it somewhere else. I don't know. But yeah, I had heard that as well, Mods. It'd be interesting to see. They haven't had the house differently since what, season 3 or 4 is when they moved into this one. So it's been a long time. I'd kind of feel funny if I got a new house that wasn't where I'd actually played the game. But who knows? I love the Big Brother Canada house. So if they want to move somewhere else and upgrade it and everything, I'll miss the old house. But I kind of get where they're coming from. Here's a cool idea. If I'm a multi-billionaire who buys the CBS lot because I want to make movies and do whatever, whoever buys it. If I'm that person, you know what I'm doing out with that CBS, with that soundstage, with that Big Brother house? I'm not tearing it down. I'm turning it into a little hotel, and I am leasing out groups that can come stay in the Big Brother house for a couple of nights, set up some competitions in the backyard, some walls, some BB comics, and let people go through the Big Brother experience for 2-3 days over a weekend. You would make a killing, right? Oh, I think a lot of people would pay to go actually sleep in the have-not room or the HOH room and get to do the comps in the back and all that. How cool would that be? Maybe I'm just going to go build one in my backyard. You think CBS would let me do that? My own little Hog's Big Brother house and charge people to come hang out, and I'll run the competitions. I can be the new Julie Chen Moonves just in my backyard doing it. I'd do it. I think I'd do okay. Don't know if the attorneys at CBS would be real happy with me, but hey, yeah, was it? Ask for forgiveness, not for permission. Yeah, be out of a lot of money once they sued me, I think, as well. All right, Caleb Short saying, wish Big Brother had 2 seasons a year. This is the first live show I caught. Well, Caleb, thank you. I'm glad you're catching the live show. That's fantastic. Welcome aboard. Yeah, if they had 2 seasons, how cool would that be? I don't think I could handle it, though, because Survivor has multiple seasons. A lot of reality shows have a Bachelor, Bachelorette. It seems like they got, 5 or 6 seasons a year, it seems like sometimes. But because Big Brother has not just one episode on TV a week, they've got 3, and then they've got the live feeds and everything else. If they did 2 seasons a year, I'm afraid that we would lose a lot of the live feeds or other things, and we don't want that. But you know what would be cool? Do y'all remember? Some of y'all saw it. Some of you probably don't. They had Big Brother Over the Top one year where it was a Big Brother season, but it wasn't on TV. It was strictly on the computer. You could do something like that. You could have a full-blown Big Brother season and then maybe have a little mini season in the spring or winter time or something. It'd be a little different. Yeah, you want to make it different enough that it's just a whole different feel. But have a little online-only version of it so all of us hardcore fans still have something to watch during the wintertime. That'd be cool. I'd have a blast. I'd cover that as well. That'd be a lot of fun. But yeah, it was. I don't know if I could handle 2 seasons a year of it emotionally or sleep time or anything else. All right, let's see. Yeah, Mama Mia sent us 2-3 for a loop. They didn't seem to trust each other. I agree. No one trusts each other in that house too much, right? Now that everyone's gotten rid of their little side pieces for the most part. All right, let's see. What else do we have on here? I'm trying to keep up with all of this, guys. Mama Cat saying, Cliff Hogg, you still living in Houston. Fellow Texans here. Well, howdy, Mama Cat. Yep, still down here in Houston. Hanging out. I went to the lake over the weekend and hung out a little bit. I love being outdoors and enjoying that a little bit. But yep, still here in Houston. All right, Alan Kidd. Since Tiffany won HOH twice in 7 days, how are the HOH letters from home handled? I don't know. I'm not sure. Does the family make them week by week or create it at one time or something? Here's how I think it works. Yeah, no one's actually come to me and said, Cliff, this is a process. So take it with a grain of salt. I don't have some secret hotline connection to the Big Brother producers. I call them all the time. They never answer. No, but here's how I think it works. The first few weeks that you're in the house, I think everyone probably has written an HOH letter of some sort that's kind of done very early, maybe even before you get in the house, early in the season. And so they have those kind of as preparation in case you win one of the first HOHs. And then I think once you get a little deeper into the season, I don't know if they have people write new ones. I think they may have family members write some new HOH letters that maybe are updated a little bit of, hey, we've been watching, you're doing great, or something like that. That's a little bit after you've been in the house. If you win one that's maybe a little less expected, I think, because I know from experience, Big Brother has phone numbers and everything else for all your family members. And I expect if you win an unexpected HOH, there's probably a quick phone call made and someone saying, hey, can you write up something really quick because we need to get this taken care of. I'm not going to go into details, but I think there was one HOH during my season where based on the way the letter was written and everything, there was some thinking that maybe it was written very quickly, like right after the person had won HOH. So I think it kind of depends on at what point in the season you are with these HOHs. But yeah, can you believe Tiffany won two HOHs? They weren't two HOHs in a row because kind of Claire had the one in between the high roller power. But basically 2 Thursday nights in a row, Tiffany won the HOH powers. That's pretty awesome. That's she's got a lot to talk about from a resume standpoint when she gets into the if she makes it to the final 2 chairs, right? And there's no guarantee of that, but if she makes it, she certainly has a lot of stuff to talk about why she thinks that she deserves it. And I would be on board with a Tiffany win if she made it, but she's got to make it there. And I think she's just got a lot of hurdles between here and there. She's getting close. They're all getting closer, but they still have a few hurdles to go along the way. All right, let's see. Lawrence, I think they should do videos instead of letters like BB Canada. How cool would that be? And normally at some point in the season, you'll get some videos from home. Everyone gets to watch their videos. Everyone gets to watch everyone else watching their videos. We didn't get that much season. And I was so upset. I really thought by the time we got to 4 or 5 people that we'd get some kind of videos from home, and it just never happened. I was a little perturbed at that. But once again, they didn't consult me when they talked about how the season was going to work. All right, Mama Mia saying, I'm sure it'll be a quick Q&A HOH, and someone like Hannah will win it on a double eviction night. Yeah, it could be, Mama Mia. And think about this. Well, not think about this. I'll tell you, when it was my season for our double eviction, the first half, the HOH competition, was we voted. I was on the block that night, as was Jessica. Jessica got sent home. We immediately went out in the backyard. Our first competition wasn't a Q&A. It was actually a physical competition. It was at ice hockey where we had to put the puzzle together, then knock the ball into the net. And is the one that Nicole won, her first HOH. She was so happy. I was so happy for her. I would have been happy for her just because as a person, I was happy to see her get something that I knew she wanted so much. As my ride or die, yeah, I was pretty happy when I saw that because it meant I was safe for the week. But no, so our HOH was actually not a Q&A type session, but the veto competition that we did, which I won, What the Bleep was our competition where we had to try to guess what the person had said at their eviction speech. And so I won that one. So we did have a Q&A or true false type question for the veto part. So we'll see one of those, and then we'll see something that'll be some kind of athletic, something that's a pretty quick, easy competition that they will be more or less able to figure out about how long it'll take, because it's all going to be live. So it can't be endurance or something that you don't know how long it may or may not take. They'll have to kind of have something they know just how long it'll take. So I expect to see both kind of competitions given it. Joy saying, wasn't Alyssa given a laptop for a video chat if she lasted long enough? Yes. The rule was that she got, a phone call, I think, home at one point. And then if she lasted into, I don't know, was it final 8? I don't remember what the hurdle was. But I did see something saying that she was supposed to get a video call home at some point this week. And I don't know if that's happened yet or not. But that's kind of cool. I'm happy for Alyssa that she's getting that. I know that'll be something that she'll be excited about. Moss and my entire family was very happy because Nicole had won something. Yeah, I was kind of happy too. I was very happy for her. She turned it on at the end. She won quite a few things, didn't she? Right there, or at the end. Cliff is an underrated player, Ma saying, well, thank you very much, Ma. I appreciate that. I do. I gave it everything I had, so thank you for that. Window Wendy said, you're expecting X to throw it again. Well, now here's my thinking on that, guys. If Alyssa is here on Thursday and it's a double eviction type competition, there's a lot of people that may not want to be winning this next HOH, right? Because you would expect that this next HOH, the decisions that have to be made aren't nearly as vital or as important or as stressful is the decisions that are going to be made for the person who wins the final 6 HOH, right? I can see Alyssa wanting to win this coming up HOH. She better be trying to win this next HOH. But everyone else, maybe not so much, especially someone like Xavier. So, yeah, I can see a lot of people possibly throwing this HOH, which makes it that much more likely that Alyssa could come through and win this thing. And then she's going to throw everything. It's going to create so much chaos. And we'll all be, not all of it. A lot of us will be kind of happy, right? Again, not anything against specific players or anything, but just to see a whole lot of people going, oh my God, just to see the pandemonium in the house would be cool. All right, let's see. I'm going JMU for college. Well, congratulations, Mom. All right. Candace, definitely an underrated player. So excited to come across your channel. Well, thank you, Candace, for finding my channel, and I appreciate you watching and supporting every bit of it. All right, Julia said, I'd love to see you go back and guest host a competition. Yeah, I would too. That'd be kind of fun. It'd be hard, though, to go in that house, hug everyone and say hello to everyone, and not want to offer up my own opinions and all of that, because you can't do that. You just have to be there and smile. But yeah, I'd love to go back and host a comp. Maybe if they get some kind of ball rolling competition or something, I could go back and do that. I'd do it in a heartbeat. All right, Mama Cat, do you think Xavier hurt his game by not winning a lot of HOH and vetoes? He's claiming he threw a lot of them. Did he hurt his game? Maybe. You got to be careful. I mean, if you throw too many competitions at the end, to say he's in the final 2 seats and he starts saying, I could have won a whole lot more competitions, but I chose to throw it. Well, first of all, some people are going to say, yeah, right. It's easy to claim after the fact, but the fact is, you didn't win them, Xavier. And there may also be people saying, well, that's kind of cowardly. Were you throwing it because you weren't willing to make the big moves? Were you throwing the comps because you wanted other people to do all the work and you just were a coaster? You were just a floater? You got to be a little careful when you start talking about that too much. Now, comp here, I'm never a huge fan of throwing any comps. And maybe it's because I valued and I treasured every single competition I won in that house, and I wouldn't have returned any of them. But some people do see it as a strategy, and I get it. And for some people, it certainly does make sense sometimes. But you do it too much, and I think it could jeopardize this game. Now, the difference is, as they get to the final 6, if Xavier now turns around and wins 3 or 4 competitions, well, then that backs him up saying, I threw the stuff earlier when it became important. Then I started winning. Think about KC in season 20, where she kind of turned it on at the end. And if Xavier does something like that, well, then you forget about some of the earlier stuff. But if he doesn't, if he just maybe wins 1 or 2 and that's it towards the end, yeah, I think it could hurt him a little bit. Michelle Moore saying, why don't they have a dishwasher? They're always doing dishes. I know it. I trust me. I spent half my time in that house doing dishes, it feels like. Because there's some people in my house, my season, that wanted to control all the food. They wanted to do the cooking and everything else. And I let them, because whatever. It was important to some people that the fridge was lined up just right, that the food was cooked just right. All right, whatever. So as a result, I wanted to contribute. So I did a lot of washing dishes. Yeah, why don't they have a dishwasher? I think there's 2 reasons that I'm going to throw out at you to do that. One, it could be that a dishwasher is too loud. That maybe the noise of a dishwasher, there's microphones throughout the whole house. We all have our microphones that we wear all day long. Maybe just that rumble and the noise of a dishwasher is a little bit too much noise. It could be, I've got another reason. It could be also, remember, as I said earlier, this isn't a real house. It's a sound stage that's been dressed up to look like a house. Now, they've got a hot water heater for the shower that we use and all that. They've got a hot water heater that gives us some water in the sink when we're washing dishes. But it could be that just from a disposal standpoint, from getting enough hot water in for the dishwasher and all that, it may be a little problematic from a plumbing standpoint. But here's the big reason, and I truly think this. I think they want us doing as much labor as possible. They don't want us just throwing dishes into the dishwasher, turning it on and going away. They want us to have to do the dishes because they know every season someone's going to gripe about someone never washes their own dishes, or someone's doing all the work, and it also forces people to stay in the kitchen a little bit more and spend time with each other. I think they want to see the interaction, and forcing us to do some chores and things like that. It's just Big Brother's way of keeping us involved with each other and maybe creating just a little bit more drama while in the house, right? I think that could be a part of it. All right, let's see. Julia Shepard, do you think they will do the competition where they search and mess up the house, the hide and go veto? I don't know, Julia, because here's the thing. That's an iconic competition they do every single year, but they didn't do it last season. And I'm pretty sure it was because of COVID. Because when we do hide and go veto, I've had people ask me before, a little inside scoop for y'all. I've had people ask me before, Cliff, how do they keep you from hiding your veto where someone else has hit it, where maybe you find theirs or they find yours? How do you keep that from happening? Well, here's how hide and go veto works. We all go outside. One at a time, we go back into the house, and we're given, I think, 5 minutes, 3 minutes, something like that, to hide our veto. And so you hide it. Well, once you do that and you've got it hidden, then you go back outside. Then the BB producers or whoever, someone goes into that room, goes into the house, records where your veto is, but then they remove it. And then they let the next person go in and hide the veto. And you do that throughout the whole thing. Well, at the end, we were told if 2 people hide their veto in the same location, we're going to call both of y'all in the house one at a time until you have to find a new location. And we'll keep doing that until everyone has different locations for for where they've hidden it. Once that happens, then the producers come back in and actually place the vetoes where everyone placed them in the first place. So that's how they make sure that no one puts their veto in the same place as someone else. But that means that you've got a lot of people going into that house during that competition to pull the vetoes, put new ones in. And if they've got some germs on their hands and now suddenly the house guests are getting exposed to it, I think from a COVID standpoint, they didn't do it last season, which could mean that they're not going to do it this season as well. I think that's a possibility. Plus, if you look at this house, I think this house is too clean. I don't see nearly as many places to hide a veto as during our season. You can't hide it in amongst the coral pieces or anything in that coral room, right? I just don't see as many places to hide a veto. During my season, we had that RV. We had all kinds of stuff, arrows and bags that held arrows, just all kinds of places you could hide a veto. I don't see it as much this season. So if I had to guess, and especially being it's a shorter season and all, I bet they don't have it this season either. And if they don't have it for 2 seasons in a row, will they bring it back once COVID's over? Maybe not. They may say, that's kind of runs course. Let's do something else. And if that's the case, I'm going to be proud or happy that at least I got a chance to do it before it went away, right? So we'd have that. Jelly Crossing, I like how they have that upstairs outside. I do too. I wish they had it during our season, just so you could stand up and kind of catch some breeze and see everyone down below. That would have been cool. But I like that change they made on it. All right, Rusty Pranger. How long does it really take to explain a competition? Do they ask a lot of questions that we don't see on TV? No, not really. We didn't ask that many questions. And here's the way it would normally work. When we would get outside, because we don't see these competitions until we step out in the backyard. And normally they'd say, okay, house guest, this competition is called so-and-so, and here's the rules. And someone would read out a long list of rules to us. And then lots of times they'd say, okay, now we're going to summarize it. And then they'd read some rules that maybe you would hear on the show itself. But they would give us a chance. They'd say, does everyone understand? And if it's live, it's just like you hear. And Julie's saying, does everyone understand? And yeah, Julie. But if it's recorded, like the vetoes and things like that, then they give us a chance to ask questions. I can't remember, but maybe once or twice did anyone ask a question. Usually the rules were pretty self-explanatory, and we all figured it out. Now, I do remember, y'all remember during our season, we had activities, special comps that we had to do. And ours involved finding all these different smells, fox urine and rotten potato. Horrible. I hated that. Running around this campground trying to identify smells that were in our trash can. Well, they explained the rules to us beforehand, and they told us, they said, all right, house guests, without going into a lot of detail, we do need to tell you that there's going to be a few live animals that are going to be part of this competition. You're going to see some live animals, so don't be surprised, and certainly don't hurt them or do anything like that, okay? And we're all like, yeah, okay, that's fine. Except for Nicole. Nicole, as I found out later, has a real fear of birds. And so Amelia said, they said, you don't have any questions? Nicole says, yeah, I got a question. Are there any birds that I have to deal with? They say, well, Nicole, we can't tell you any more details other than just there'll be some live animals. So then Nicole was panicked the whole rest of the time before that competition that maybe she was going to have to deal with a bunch of birds or something. She didn't, but she is nervous about that. So yeah, every once in a while, someone asks questions. Now, the other part that y'all may see is then during the diary room sessions, you'll see one of us saying, all right, in this competition, what we have to do is roll a ball and make sure we roll it farther than someone else and land on the square, whatever the rules are. That is usually done after. It is done after the competition. After it's all over, then we get brought into the diary room sessions, and for all I know, everyone is asked to do it, and they pick whoever does it best, or they want to switch things up a little bit. But normally they'd say, all right, Cliff, we need you to kind of explain the rules. Could you help explain the rules? And so you do it, and they'd say, yeah, that's great, Cliff, but can you really emphasize that if the ball rolls off the side, then you're eliminated or something? And so you'd kind of tweak it a little bit until they felt like it was what they wanted conveyed to the viewers. And then you read it through, and they'd say, okay, Cliff, that's good. Get out of here. And so that was all done after the competitions, just in case you didn't know that. So there's your inside scoop for the evening. All right, Lawrence Santiago. What if Derek, Big D, is actually a comp beast and has been throwing them all season? If that's the case, then he deserves the victory, and I'll be happy to see him get it. And I'll be cheering from one big guy to another big guy. I'll be cheering him on, and I hope that turns out to be the case. We'll see. All right, now I don't want to body shame, and so I don't even want to make a whole lot of jokes or anything else. But I'm kind of excited to see Big D doing like BB comics with the zip line. That'll be kind of fun. Watch it. You know what? I think he's upset because he hasn't won any competition so far. And I understand that. I absolutely understand it. And I hope he wins some just for his own self-esteem, just because he's been in the house that long. I want that one competition to come along. I want every person in that house to have their golden moment, their shining moment that 10 years from now, when they're looking back, they can say, I still remember that night. And I hope Big D gets it through some type of competition. And I kind of hope it's a physical competition so he feels good about it, more so than even just a Q&A type deal. I want him to have that moment. I had mine when I battled back into the house and then I won HOH. That's my golden moment that I'll never forget. It's my kind of highlight reel type thing. I want Big D to have one. I want everyone in the house. Ozza's another one. I want Ozza to win something just so she has that opportunity to be the star and to really get all the attention just for a little bit. I'd love to see that. All right, Pam Chisholm. If Alyssa loses HOH, would it not make sense to not put her on the block? Because there are only 7 left, and she would not play in POV and be sure to get put up by the cookout. All right, that's interesting. So basically, a blind side, except if I understand that right, except when you're down to, let's think about that. We've got 8 people right now. By the time we will lose someone at the next HOH, we're going to have 7 people in the house, which means 6 people play in POV. So you only have 1 person that's not playing in the veto competition, but there is 1 person that's not playing. So if someone else won HOH, if they put Alyssa on the block, then she's absolutely getting to play in the veto competition. If you don't put her on the block, there's a chance she doesn't play. And if she doesn't win the veto, you're kind of right. If she doesn't win the veto, then surely whoever wins the veto is going to use it on someone that's on the block, and they're going to replace it with Alyssa, unless it's Xavier that wins HOH, and then he may not want to put her on the block anyway. So yeah, I think that's a valid point. I don't know that it would hurt to put her on the block. It may increase her chances of playing in veto just a little bit. So maybe you don't, and you just count. The problem is I don't think the Cookout Alliance, I don't think everyone in the alliance trusts everyone else enough to be that comfortable of not putting her on the block and trusting that someone's going to win the veto and not just turn around and say, yeah, I'm not going to use a veto. I think it benefits my game a little bit better. I think everyone's going to want to see, if the opportunity presents itself, they're going to want to see Alyssa up there just so they feel comfortable that that's the game plan and no one's trying to betray them or anything else. But again, we're talking about the second half of a double eviction. So you don't have a lot of time to strategize, to plot, to come up with incredible scenarios and everything else. And so for that reason alone, you may just see the most cut and dried process possible, which probably would be to put her on the block if the opportunity presents itself. I kind of hope I'm wrong. I'd like to see some wild things get thrown out there, but I kind of think that may be the case. All right, let's see. Jelly Crossing, do they have a vacuum? Yeah, sometimes. And that gets back to the question about dishwashers and the noise they make. Yeah, that's a good question because, yes, we have a vacuum cleaner, but at least during my season, we only got the vacuum cleaner on Thursdays. Y'all know, if y'all watch the live feeds, there's a lot of downtime on Thursdays, downtime because we're upstairs while they're getting ready to film the live episodes, things like that. But we do get a vacuum cleaner on Thursdays that allow, and so we go in, we try to vacuum everything up. And here's kind of a grungy thing, I suppose. When we got the vacuum cleaner during my season, the first week we got the vacuum cleaner, which was probably week 2 or 3, it's pretty early. I tried to run the vacuum cleaner and it wasn't sucking anything up at all. And so being the engineer, being the handyman that I am, I said, well, this isn't going to work. I got to fix it. So I unplugged it. I turned it upside down. I took all the hoses apart. I looked up underneath and I could see that everything was just completely clogged up. Amazing amount of dirt. There, it's like packed in. You might as well put mud in there and let it just set up. And so I went in, I got some forks and things. I just started trying to dig all this stuff out. And I pulled out more gunk. It just kept coming out. And all I could think the whole time I was doing is, oh my gosh, this is gunk from season 20, from season 9. It's probably from season 18, 17, and 16 as well. But I was like, oh, this is all gunk from all these past seasons, all these past house guests. This is all their dust and everything that I'm cleaning up. So I guess I was a little bit starstruck still being in that house, right? But I got it all fixed up and vacuumed everything up, and it worked perfectly after that. And then last season during All-Stars, I watched and saw they had a whole new vacuum cleaner. So I was like, all right, well, they gave us all the junk vacuum that barely worked. They got new stuff for them. Maybe they didn't have anyone in the house last season that could fix a vacuum cleaner like old Boss Hog could. All right, Ma saying, can you hide the veto by the toilet? No. There were a couple of rules with hide and go veto. One, you couldn't hide the veto above the top of the windows because they want the cameras behind those windows to be able to see what's going on and everything. So you couldn't hide it at a level above, your head level or the window level. You couldn't hide it in the toilet area where the cameras couldn't easily see what you were doing. There were some holes throughout the house that were used, like where cords went, or like in the boat room, there were some little gaps in the wood, and they said you can't put anywhere where it's considered dangerous. You can't move stuff that is permanently attached, glued down, or whatever. You can't rip it up. So yeah, there were a lot of rules about where we couldn't put the veto. You had to be able to put the veto somewhere that you could retrieve it in, I think, under 3 seconds. I think that's what the time point was. So in other words, I couldn't put it somewhere like somewhere in the RV where it would take me 5 minutes of feeling around before I could grab it and pull it back down. You had to be able, if challenged, you had to be able to go in, pull something apart, get it in under 3 seconds and hold it up. And so, yeah, there were some rules like that to make sure that you kind of kept it fair and everything. Old Boss Hog always gets me. Yeah, I'm old enough. I watched Boss Hog when he was on CBS Dukes of Hazzard. So yeah, I love the name. I'm happy to share it with them. All right, Lawrence, can the cookout be intact after the first double? Yeah, and here's the thing. We kept talking earlier in the season about this potentially being a triple eviction. Y'all remember that? Everyone say, oh, we had a triple last season. Big Brother Canada does a triple. We may get a triple this season. And I absolutely think that Big Brother may have been considering a triple eviction to begin the season. I think they were thinking that's what was going to happen. But then the Cookout Alliance started saying, oh, if they had a triple, right, that I would hate to see a triple when there's 8 of us left, because then it'll go from 8 to 7, 7 to 6, and then 6 to 5. And so they were saying, with us 6 in the Cookout Alliance, we'll never have a week where it's just the 6 of us in this house to celebrate if it's a triple, because we'll go from 8 to 5 in a single night, and it's just unfortunate. I think the Big Brother production people were thinking about that. I absolutely think, and I don't know for certain, but I absolutely think that because this has been kind of a unique season, because the Cookout Alliance has their objective that they're trying to go for, because they've been so strong, because there is a possibility that they could end up being the final 6, just the Cookout Alliance. For all those reasons combined, I think Big Brother said, you know what? We would kind of like to see them have an entire week in the house, just the 6 of them. So instead of having this triple eviction, we're going to have a double, and then we'll have another double. I think that's possible. So yeah, that's the long answer. The short answer is, yeah, I think they could end up intact, a final 6 of just nothing but the Cookout Alliance. All right, Stephanie, Ahmad, how does double eviction work? All right, here's how it works. It's pretty much the way you see on TV because it's live, but let me just use my season as an example. Jessica and myself are on the block, just a regular old night. As soon as we get into the living room, Julie Chen comes on and says, "Hi, house guest." "Hi, Julia." Special night, double eviction. Oh, we knew it. We all know. We always say we knew it. We kind of suspected it, but she says, "All right, well, let's get started." So we immediately cast our votes, vote out someone. In our case, Jessica got voted out. I survived, just like a normal night. But then, instead of then going out and having an HOH that's going to end the night, Julie says, "All right, well, usually we're going to cut to a commercial. When we come right back, we're going to do an HOH competition." So they cut to commercial. The speakers come on. They say, "House guests, we need you to go outside immediately. We're going to get ready for the HOH." We go out there. In my case, it was a hockey competition, puzzle and everything. While you're away from the commercials, they read the rules to us, so we kind of know what's going on. As soon as they come back onto the actual TV broadcast, I feel like Julie's the one that reads out a real condensed bit of the instructions about what we're going to do. She blows a horn, or they blow the horn. You do the event, you win, you go hug the winner. We all went and hugged Nicole and so happy for her and all that. Julie said, "All right, Nicole, your HOH, congratulations. When we get back, we're going to do the veto competition." They go to another commercial. We're going to do the nomination ceremony. So at that point, we run inside. We have a real quick discussion, and you see some of that before they cut to commercial of us saying, "Oh, all right, Nicole, who are we going to put up? What are we going to do?" And this and that. People kind of, "Don't put me up, Nicole." So you got all that going on. Cut to commercial. We still have our conversations for just a little bit longer. Then production says, "All right, house guests, we're going to need you in the living room for the nominations." As soon as Julie comes back on, she said, "All right, we need your nominations, Nicole." She picks out the 2 people, Tommy, Christy. "I'm sorry, but you're going on the block." Julie immediately says, "All right, back to the backyard. We're doing the veto competition." We ran back there. I think another commercial. When they came back from the commercial, we did the bleep competition, true, false type thing. I won that. We go right back into the living room. I make my decisions on if I want to use the veto or not. I didn't. I'm happy the way it is. And we immediately do the votes, go back inside. That's it. You really don't miss anything on those double evictions from what you see on TV. During the commercials, a little bit of us talking, what do we do? Who do we go up against? And a little bit of instructions from the producers, but that's it. And so then you send home the second person of the night. And then typically you go back out in the backyard and you do another HOH, which in our case was not live. We did it a little bit later, and it was shown the following episode or whatever. So it's quick. There's a lot that goes on in the night. What kind of stress is involved with it? All right, Justin Madison, her game is over if she lets go of Claire. I don't know, Justin, maybe. I think that Tiffany is she's in a tough situation because either way, if she lets Claire go, who is her main side person, right? She loses a very loyal person. But if she doesn't do that, if she betrays the Cookout Alliance, well, now she's got all the Cookout Alliance people who are using that as an excuse or a further reason to go after Tiffany before going after anyone else. So I think she's kind of, in a little bit, I think it's a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. I think Tiffany not being able to get Alyssa out because Alyssa won the veto, it's just a worst case situation for Tiffany. So you could be right, but I also think the other way would have been tough for Tiffany as well. Lawrence, let's have a double eviction where the evicted house guest chooses someone to go with them. Oh, then how? Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to see someone get out of that house that doesn't at least have a little bit of a chance to fight for it or something else. Now, here's something to think about. I'm not saying that's not a bad idea. It'd be interesting. It'd create a lot of drama. I just would feel sorry for whoever got drugged out of the house without having the chance to campaign or fight for anything else. But here's a different idea. We saw this up in Canada where I don't remember what they called it, but someone thought they thought it was a double eviction, but it wasn't. It was like a fake double eviction. If I recall, one person got booted and then another person got booted, but the first person didn't actually leave the house. They had up a sign saying, "You haven't actually been evicted, sit tight." And so this person just hung around. When the second eviction happened, that person then was brought in with the first person. They said, "Okay, y'all aren't evicted, but y'all now have to compete. One of you stays in the house, one of you goes home." And so here's the first person. I can't remember what her name was, but she thought her season was done. Her game was over. And then she finds out that no, it's kind of a little mini battle back. And so she and the guy, and I can't remember who that was either, Tyshawn maybe. Anyway, so they competed and got back in the house, one of them. So I'd kind of like to see something like that where someone thinks their game's over. You don't have to worry about COVID and quarantine and things like that like you would with a battle back. So you don't have to deal with that, but someone still kind of gets a chance to fight their way back into the house. I'd love to see that. I think that'd be a lot of fun. All right, let's see. One of two. And two evictees did a battle back, Jelly Crossing. Yeah, I think that's a similar recall as well. All right, just me, Madison. I can't decide where Hannah's loyalties lie. I really think Hannah and Tiffany probably are the tightest two, tightest with each other, I think. But I also think Hannah is very proud of the strategy game. I'm just going to give her the nickname of the manipulator. Hannah Manipulator. She goes in, she has conversations with everyone. She's everyone's best friend to some degree. I feel like as soon as she lost Derek X, she really felt like she's a little bit more of a free agent, that she can go talk to anyone and come up with all these little plots underneath the radar, and some of them are very effective as well. There's a time or two where I think Hannah's getting a little too cute with her actions and maybe needs to just chill just a little bit. But yeah, Hannah, I think she's tightest with Tiffany, but I also think that she feels like she also has connections with just about everyone else in that house completely. All right. Let's see what else. Mama Cat, do you think we'll see a lot of fighting when it comes down to the final six, especially if some strikes early and cuts out one of the cookout? Yeah, oh yeah, definitely think that'll lead to some fighting. And I don't know, fighting. I mean, I don't think physical fighting or anything like that. I do think you'll see a lot of people begging, pleading, demanding, saying that you're a horrible, treasonous traitor if you don't keep me in the house, and how dare you, and you'll never get my vote. I expect to see a lot of that because I think there's too many people that think that they've got the lead in this game, that they've got a good position, that once they get to that final six, they maybe are going to discover. I just think there's people who haven't truly played Big Brother just yet because they've been somewhat comfortable within this alliance that has not been broken. And when they suddenly find out that a lot of people that have been making a lot of promises throughout this entire season are going back on those promises, yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of very intense discussions. We'll just call it that. I think we're going to see a lot of that. All right, let's see what else. Let me look at some of these. I have so much fun talking about Big Brother. I'm so glad y'all aren't here letting me do this, guys. So let's see. Let me talk about this. Lieberg, how many conversations happened about who you were going to vote to win? Did you have the rest of the jury people to talk with? I lost the actual comment, but I think that's basically it. How many convos happened with you where you're going to vote out people up? Well, or were people really undecided? I don't know. And the reason I say that is because since I was voted out fourth, I never got a chance to go to the jury house. So I never got to hang around with everyone else in the jury and really kind of find out what their thoughts were. I talked to them a little bit during the jury roundtable, but that was it. And so I can only speak for myself and say that I was very undecided. I spent that week, 6 days from when I was evicted till the finale, really not knowing who I was going to vote for. And it's easy to say, oh, yeah, you say that now. No, I didn't know. I always said that I was going to judge my vote based on how well people did at comps, how well they did at the social game, and how well they did at the jury management. I felt like those were the three things I was going to try to really judge each one independently on. And when it came right down to it, with my season, I felt like Mickey obviously won the comp game, that Holly won the jury management game. And in terms of social game, I thought they both had some things they'd done well. And so I went back and forth. And I'll say this, I did not decide I was going to vote for Mickey until after they had both given their speeches and talked about things and answered the questions that we had for them and saw how they handled themselves and everything else. So at least from my standpoint, yeah, I was completely undecided. Other people, I think Tommy has said that he wasn't really certain until the end. I'm guessing there's a few people who probably either because they were just a little bitter or friends with someone. I'm sure there are some people every season that say, "And I knew second I was out of the house who I was going to vote for if they were still up there." And I gotta say, if Nicole had been one of the final two against Holly or Mickey, well, there's no undecidedness for me. She gets my vote no matter what. And I'm sure other people in my season or other seasons feel the same way based on who was up there. But from a personal standpoint, no, I didn't have a clue. I really didn't know. But I also didn't get a chance to kind of talk to the other jury members and get some consensus because I was booted and didn't get a chance to hang out at the jury house. I hope that makes sense. Moss saying Holly wasn't that interesting. Holly played a heck of a game. She played under the radar. I think she played too much under the radar. But one of the things I really liked about Holly, someone mentioned, someone said, "Oh, you're riding Mickey's coattails." And she said, "No, I wasn't. I was sitting there yanking him back, keeping him from doing things that were going to screw up his game." I think she's a little right on that. Now, I ended up voting for Mickey. I thought he did a little more, but Holly played an underrated game in a lot of ways. And that doesn't mean I don't, there's things that there's things that I thought she did that I didn't especially like and all of that. And there's good and advantages and disadvantages to all of their games. But no, I think she was underrated. Oh, wow. It is 7:58. I have so much fun. I didn't get to talk about some of the stuff I was going to talk about, but that's all right. Well, we'll do that after the Big Brother season. We only have 24 days. So I love talking Big Brother with you guys. Thank you so much for sitting in with me for another Monday, the first Monday in September, Labor Day. I hope you all enjoyed the long weekend as well. I'm going to go ahead and shut it down. So guys, before I do that, let me just remind you, because I know we've got people who come out just to watch this show or finding me for the first time. And to you, thank you. I appreciate it. But also for all of y'all, if you don't follow my morning recaps, I do it every morning. I post it. I don't know. I post it at some point in the morning. I try to keep it to about 15, 20 minutes, covering everything that happened overnight inside the Big Brother house. I didn't talk about spoilers, like in the comments. I didn't talk about spoilers. I tried to avoid it during the live show. But obviously over the overnight feeds, we'll talk about everything that happens, spoilers and otherwise. But I know there's other people that spend 2 or 3 hours doing the live feed recaps. I never really had time for that. I'm keeping it at 15, 20 minutes so you can listen on the way to work, on the way to school, while you have a little break, while you're getting ready for your day, things like that. So y'all come find it. It's on YouTube also. So if you found me here, you probably can find the overnight recaps as well. And I would love to have y'all out there. And I want to get y'all's comments as well. Ask me questions. That's what I enjoy about this channel more than anything else. So guys, y'all have a great one. Enjoy the rest of a kind of short week, 4-day work week, 4-day school week. Have a great one. SKD 143, my friends. Cheers. Bye, guys.